From the UNC School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering Carolina in HD, this is Carolina Week.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of Carolina Week, a recap of the best news stories from this semester. I'm Kristen Ruffin.
And I'm Anissa Jabbar. From campus drones to vineyards, from mice to songbirds, and everything in between, our reporters covered a lot of news this fall.
A different perspective, that's what police warn body cameras can offer in situations when officers' conduct might be called into question. So are there any plans to implement them in the Chapel Hill or Carrboro police departments? Elizabeth Tew reports.
Questions surrounding an incident earlier this year when Carrboro police handcuffed a UNC student and forced him to the ground might have been answered if officers were wearing one small device: body cameras.
Y'all gonna walk away from me?
The cameras, which attach to officers' uniforms, can offer visual evidence in encounters between police and the public. And calls for police body cameras have grown after the fatal shooting in Ferguson, Missouri last month. But do Chapel Hill and Carrboro police departments have any plans to use them? I spoke with Sergeant Brian Walker of the Chapel Hill Police Department, who says is an option the department is exploring.
But the advantage of that body-worn camera allows us to see more of what the officer saw.
And in Carrboro, Captain Cornell Lamb says body cameras will offer many advantages to the department.
The body camera will allow the whole story to be told and not just one-sided. You get the whole version of both the officer's account and the complainant's account.
Currently, police cars in both departments are equipped with dash cameras that record all encounters with the public. The video can be reviewed if any questions arise about an officer's conduct. Although there are some privacy concerns surrounding the use of them, Walker says the cameras are justified.
So it's important to us that our officers conduct themselves in a professional manner, and this allows us to ensure and to demonstrate to the citizens of Chapel Hill that they do.
Officers hope that in the long run, the cameras will provide more transparency. I'm Elizabeth Tew reporting.
Both Chapel Hill and Carrboro police departments are currently testing different types of body cameras. The Carrboro Police Department says it hopes to implement them in the coming months.
You can find stories about them in the news, somewhere between reports about ISIS and government spying, but Chapel Hill is the last place you'd think to find one. Susanna Black has the story.
When Jaslyn Piggott saw it, she says she had no idea what it was.
I just saw this thing about this big, it looked like, and it was just hovering over the field.
So she decided to look it up.
It says here that any unmanned aircraft is a drone.
And that's exactly what it was. Jeff Camarati's drone.
A Storm Drone 6.
He uses it to take photos. As the official photographer for UNC Athletics, he is the only person taking photos for all 28 varsity sports. Not only does the drone help him,
This allows us to get some footage that we might not otherwise be able to get.
It benefits the athletics department too.
The big money saver is not having to hire a helicopter to get aerials of the stadium when it's full.
Camarati assembled the drone himself.
First started with a simple airframe and wanted to go with the 6 motors.
Then attached his GoPro.
It's limited because it's a GoPro, but we're able to use them in more ways and are actually good enough. We've made several poster-sized prints out of them, and yeah, they've held together very well.
Even though it's used only to take photos, Piggott says she and other students didn't know what to make of the drone.
When I first saw it, it reminded me of the UFOs or the things you see on movies. I knew that probably wasn't what it was, but that's kind of the first thought that came to my mind.
Camarati says to rest easy, though. Not only is it not a UFO, it's not the kind of drone to worry about either.
A lot of people, when they hear drone, think of the airplanes and unmanned aircraft that you see on the news. Yeah, this is very different.
Camarati says drones are becoming more popular and not to be surprised if you see one flying around.
I'm sure you've heard of Bali, even if that's only because of the movie Eat, Pray, Love. Thanks to a group called CEO for Teens, UNC has a connection to this island in Indonesia. Reporter Brenna Sukier has the story.
This is a day Pipit Ari won't forget. It's her graduation day, and it's all thanks to a nonprofit organization called CEO for Teens.
Thank you for CEO 14.
CEO for Teens, which stands for Creating Educational Opportunities for Teenagers, provides Balinese teenagers with one-year scholarships to Champuan College, an English and media school in the city of Ubud. Administrators chose Ari as a scholar last year.
My family didn't have enough money to continue my study to higher level. Because of CEO 14, I can continue my study again.
UNC alum Kenny Haysfield founded the program in 2007, and proceeds from UNC events, like the Eve Carson 5K, fund the scholarships. Selected scholars come from families on the margins of poverty and are often the first in their families to receive an education. Champuan College Director Gungtri Mayani says that education extends beyond the classroom.
Education helps them to see what they get in their life in the different perspective.
For Ari, this perspective is inspired by the generosity of CEO for Teens.
I want to collect some money and do the same thing, same as CEO 14, helping people who still in need.
And although she's graduating, Ari plans to continue her education and continue helping others follow their dreams too. In Bali, Indonesia, I'm Brenna Sukir reporting.
This year, CEO for Teens sponsored 13 teenagers, bringing the group closer to its goal of awarding 100 scholarships in total. So what happens after these students finish the one-year program? Reporter Brenna Sukir followed up with a couple of CEO for Teens alumni who proved Benjamin Franklin's words true when he said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest.
Yenny Ari and Yenny Yuyun stand in front of classrooms full of eager students. Just a few years ago, they were the ones sitting at the desks. Ari and Yuyun both teach at Champuan College, an English and media school in the city of Ubud. They have something else in common. They received full scholarships to attend the school thanks to an organization called CEO for Teens.
Because my father and my mother didn't have money to continue my study, CEO 14 gave me scholarship to study for 1 year in Champuan College.
CEO for Teens is a nonprofit and stands for Creating Educational Opportunities for Teenagers. UNC alum Kenny Haysfield founded it in 2007 after visiting Bali and seeing how much teenagers there could benefit from higher education. Selected scholars come from families on the margins of poverty and are often the first in their families to receive an education. The program has awarded almost 80 scholarships, and many of those students go on to find jobs teaching English at local schools. For Ari, the decision was easy.
Champuan College is my home, so I want to give back to Champuan College.
Yuyun says the greatest reward comes from her students.
When I teach, it means I learn something, not just they learn, but me also.
Ari can't help but look back on how far she's come.
I cannot imagine how will be my life if I don't get this scholarship.
Yuyun says she still can't believe it.
It's like a dream for me. I'm really proud of myself.
And it's safe to say that CEO for Teens is proud of Ari and Yuyun too. In Bali, Indonesia, I'm Brenna Sukir reporting.
The CEO for Teen scholarships are funded primarily by UNC events like the annual Eve Carson Memorial 5K, which this year brought in more than $100,000. Most of us can remember competing for the highest rank in our high school classrooms. But if local students get their way, there will be no more rankings and no more competing. Katie Fiore has that story.
Meet Davida Haliv, Havlin Scroggs, and James Creason, normal high school students at East Chapel Hill High. Normal, except that they're fighting to have class rank removed from high school transcripts.
We're really trying to get rid of class rank, and we've gotten the state legislators' attention, and so we're really going to try and pursue that this year because class rank is pointless.
Pointless, they say, because it puts too much pressure on students trying to get into top schools. Jeff Nash helps the group.
Just to point out how much pressure is on the students, this school that we're sitting in right now, last year, if a student had a 4.0 GPA, that student would be in the bottom half of their class.
Students say advanced placement, or AP classes, are a big part of the problem, especially when considering being well-rounded, something top schools consider. They say pressure to take the heavily weighted AP classes takes away from being able to do what they truly want to do.
If I hadn't taken so many AP classes last year, I would have been able to do tennis in the spring. One of my classes conflicted with doing that in the afternoon, so I wasn't able to take that, and that's something that I really missed.
Some students say that another issue with AP classes carrying more weight is that students whose schools don't offer as many of those courses don't have the chance to attain such an impressive GPA.
According to the Office of Undergraduate Admissions at UNC, counselors look at size of school, curriculum rigor, and academic achievements in addition to class rank. Officials hope doing this will put students from different schools on a level playing field. Scroggs doesn't think so.
Well, at this school I'm ranked number 15 and I have a pretty high GPA, and so I know that at a different school I'd be ranked way higher than number 15.
Although legislators have not made changes yet, the students have vowed to remain persistent. In Chapel Hill, I'm Katie Fiore reporting.
The group of students meets with the school system superintendent on a regular basis to work toward making those changes.
Students were supposed to be paying for night parking on campus, but now UNC officials have put that plan on hold. Amy Elmers explains.
Chi-Sung Cho is a junior and she commutes. She's confused when it comes to the university's night parking system.
I wasn't sure which parking spaces were going to be allowed, and so I wasn't sure if parking would be limited, but I was just very frustrated.
Frustrated because last year the university announced a night parking permit program for UNC students and employees. This year the university canceled the program. Next year we could see it again. Every student was charged a $10.40 fee to help cover the cost of parking deck construction.
But when I went to go buy my parking pass from the DPS website, it had said that it was free. I actually had no idea at all that in the end I did end up paying for it.
Vice Chancellor for Finance and Administration, Matt Fajak.
With all the questions, we thought we needed to just pull it off the table and make sure that we have everything in the right place.
Students got out of paying this year and got their money back, but next year they might not be so lucky. A new parking committee will form to look into night parking solutions. Cho isn't optimistic.
I just don't see the point in it.
The point, officials say, is to create a better long-term parking solution at UNC. In Chapel Hill, I'm Amy Elmers reporting.
Parking rules on campus remain the same as last year. If you're unsure of where to park at night, visit the campus safety website and look under parking. It's not unusual for UNC students to travel abroad, but what one group of students recently discovered in Israel is unusual, and it has them perplexed as to the artwork's origins. Tyler Rouse reports.
Jody Magnus teaches early Judaism here at UNC. She and students have been digging at Hukok in Israel for the past 4 summers. During season 2 of the dig, they uncovered an ancient mosaic floor in a Jewish synagogue depicting Samson shouldering the wall of Gaza and another showing elephants. It's the elephants that has Magnus wondering.
It might be connected with the story of the Maccabees, who were the Jewish heroes who led the revolt against the Greeks that's celebrated by the modern holiday of Hanukkah. It might be a story depicting a legendary account of the meeting between the Jewish high priest and Alexander the Great.
It remains a mystery right now. Magnus keeps it a family affair as husband Jim is there to take professional photos at each dig. He has his own website and a PowerPoint filled with photos from the past 4 seasons of digs. He says whoever crafted the mosaics had expensive taste.
And they were probably not done by someone local because the artistry is of such high quality.
Magnus hopes that with these recent discoveries, she'll interest students to go on future digs. In Chapel Hill, I'm Tyler Rouse reporting.
Magnus hopes that with these recent discoveries, she'll interest students like Andrews to go on future digs. Coming up next,
we take a look at some of our best sports stories from the semester.
Injuries can be devastating, especially during the last season of an athlete's career. The captain of Carolina's women's soccer team told reporter Alana Albrecht about the impact of her injury.
Senior midfielder and team captain Brooke Elby went from saving games to standing on the sidelines.
I think the minute I got hit, I knew.
It happened 7 minutes in against NC State.
So I stuck my leg out to keep her from just like shooting the ball out towards our defense. But the way my foot was extended, the way I planted, and the way she hit me, just all combined for a fun little popping noise that kind of sticks in my mind still.
That sound was her ACL tearing.
It was a season-ending injury, and I just think from there, my heart broke.
She missed the redshirt cutoff by 2 games, but gained something from her lost season.
Like, I guess I would never know the impact I made until I was injured.
Head coach Anson Doran says Elby set the tone for this season.
I attribute a lot of that to Brooke Elby, to the standard that she set before she got hurt, to the leadership she still demonstrates with her teammates, and I'm incredibly proud of her.
On senior night, it was Elby who started the match. She surprised her team and finished her career on the field despite the injury. Fellow senior Sitara Murray has dedicated the season to Elby.
I want to win a national championship for my best friend. That's all I want to do. I personally think she deserves to go out as a winner this year.
Regardless of the season's outcome, Elby feels like she's already won.
Obviously, it didn't go the way I planned, but it's probably been one of the most fun years that I've been here, and I wouldn't trade, I guess, my injury for anything.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Alana Albrecht, reporting.
It will be 6 months until Elby takes the field again, but the long recovery won't stop her from playing in a league. She wants to go pro in Australia next fall.
You know what really goes great with a win in football or basketball? Some warm, mouth-watering pizza at the concession stand. But just how does the university manage to feed thousands of hungry fans? Our AJ Nwoko reports.
Concessions and athletics have always gone hand in hand, but when it comes to serving fans of 28 different college sports, UNC has a lot on its plate. And though they say too many cooks can spoil a dish, UNC Associate Athletics Director Rick Steinbacher says the university has found the perfect partner to satisfy the appetites of the game day attendees.
We're in the business of athletics. We're used to providing opportunities to student athletes. We are not in the food service business, which is why we partner with a company, Aramark, that's what they do.
And according to Aramark, in just one football and basketball game alone, UNC Concessions is expected to serve 6,400 hot dogs, 3,000 slices of pizza, 500 pounds of popcorn, and all that's washed down with nearly 5,000 gallons of soda.
It's a lot of hot dogs, it's a lot of Cokes, it's a lot of Chick-fil-A sandwiches, it's a lot of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. In total, it's about $1.6 million a year.
When you think of concessions, a hot slice of pizza, a cool beverage, or if you're like me, a bag of kettle corn might come to mind. But Steinbacher says that UNC concessions are trying to raise the bar even higher in the kind of foods that they provide.
We've had Firehouse Subs, we've had Ben & Jerry's. We even now sell Italian Pizzeria 3 from Franklin Street cheesesteaks at both football and basketball games.
And Steinbacher says that no fan can go wrong with this Philadelphia classic.
I have the soft pretzel. That's just kind of my personal favorite. So that's what I would tell fans.
And despite the hard work, Steinbacher says the enjoyment he gets out of overseeing concessions is icing on the cake, or a cone.
The concessions is an important part of a game day experience. And it's a lot of fun to work with it on a college campus. It's a lot of fun to work with it here at Carolina.
So whether it's your favorite fountain drink or a game day hot dog, you can bet that UNC Concessions is sure to keep fans coming back for seconds. In Chapel Hill, I'm AJ Nwoko reporting.
You know, here at Carolina Week, we have one rule. If you do a story about food, you bring some back for the rest of us. We're sad to report that AJ broke that rule. Coming up next, we're talking about the birds and the bees.
Do these little guys rival sex life on campus?
All right, let's talk about sex. Songbird sex, that is. UNC researchers found a trait in songbirds that may reveal how they mate. And the birds might be more like humans than you think when it comes to the dating scene. Alexis Simmons reports.
This male songbird will get a mate based on the quality of his song. But there is no guarantee he will be pitch perfect every year, and that's okay according to UNC biology professor Keith Sockman.
That would suggest that females need to have some flexibility in the criteria they establish for these signals that they use in selecting a mate.
That's exactly what Sockman and graduate student Susan Lyons discovered in songbirds, and it's called the contrast effect.
So for the contrast effect, why does these previous circumstances influence how you respond to this new stimulus?
The circumstance she's talking about is trill performance, or how good or bad the male songbirds sing. Sockman and Lyons manipulated trills from 18 songs on this software to see how Lincoln Sparrow females react to those changes.
To our knowledge, this is the first demonstration of a contrast effect for a performance-based sexual signal.
In this videotaped demonstration, the researchers played a trill like this, with fast, high-performance vibrations for 6 female birds. Another set of female birds heard a trill like this one. That's slower with the lower performance. All 12 birds got a new type of exposure to an intermediate song. The birds who heard the low-performance trills were more attracted to the intermediate song than the birds who were used to a higher performance. This means female attraction is all relative.
If you can't adjust the threshold for accepting a mate as is, then you're going to forego breeding that year.
And so it turns out, male songbirds don't have to perform a superlative serenade to attract a mate. In Chapel Hill, I'm Alexis Simmons reporting.
That does it for this special edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the spring. Good night.
Good night, everyone.